So this is the special meeting of the City Events and Recognitions Committee of June 14th, 2023. Before we call the meeting to order, I wanted to let everybody know that this is a special meeting, not a regular meeting, even though it's a reschedule of a regular meeting. There are rules according to our city clerk and to the RCW that state that everything that is discussed at this meeting that I left on the agenda, so we may need to change some items on the agenda, has to be specific to actions taken by the committee and not vague or without specific agenda items. And so I will turn it over to the chair to call the meeting to order. And there you go, Jessica Johnston. Ms. Johnston, you can take over.
Thank you so much. I would like to acknowledge that we rest on the traditional homelands of the Puyallup people, where they make their homes and speak the Lushootseed language. Thank you everyone so much for being here. I would like to call this meeting to order.
Yeah, 4:05.
At 4:05.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we have to skip open discussion, I'm assuming.
Yes.
I would like to approve the agenda for this meeting. Do we have notes?
We have meeting minutes from 2 months, but as far as the agenda is concerned, Chair Johnston, I had a couple of changes.
Okay.
So for your consideration and approval. So the first item, open discussion will be removed, and item 3, chair comments will be removed. Everything else can remain on here as long as the discussion happens in order. Thank you.
Thank you, Kella. Do I have a motion to approve the changes to the agenda?
I move that we approve the agenda as changed.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Jacob. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Excellent. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from April 19th and May 17th?
I move to approve the minutes as written.
Thank you, Jacob. Do I have a second?
It's Cecily Krosky, I'll second.
Thank you, Cecily Krosky. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Excellent. So we shall move forward to our new business. MLK theme. Does anybody have any thoughts on that? Oh, we were gonna have the mayor here. She can come.
No.
Okay. Did anyone have any themes they wanted to discuss? Potential themes for MLK? I know we're about, what are we? We're 7 months, 6 months out. Which will happen like that.
Last year was still We Rise?
Yes.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm. So my thought on that, which kind of comes from a quote that I quoted in the show last year, is the blueprint. So MLK has this amazing speech that most people have never heard of called the blueprint. I can't remember what college he spoke or shared it with everyone. But I kind of love that because the blueprint, it's, you know, the building blocks of our city, of our community. And how, you know, everyone matters and, you know, from the bottom to the top. Just a thought, throwing that out there. But anyone's ideas are welcome.
I wonder if there isn't space to address some of his passion for labor movements and labor organization and things like that. I find generally the celebrations of Martin Luther King have a bit of a blind spot in that area, specifically in the work he did organizing labor and like working with people to create cohesion, yes, but not for its own sake, cohesion in order to produce these positive results for everyone. And I wonder if
Absolutely.
that's something that could be brought in, because I think one of the things that gets focused on a lot is his message of unity and people coming together, and the why he was doing that can get lost from time to time. And I think it would be maybe worthwhile to highlight some of the labor movements here in the city, and some of that. And I think that dovetails neatly with both that speech, as I recall it, and that theme. at
Yeah, one of
large.
the first sentences is, if it's your lot in life to be a street sweeper, be the best street sweeper that you can be. So I think that that does go hand in hand. And I do like highlighting MLK's vast ideas and goals that he has, because I agree it does get lost sometimes in a specific focus, which people get upset, but it's not just about one particular kind of person.
Well, a person is a huge thing. Any
person is a huge
individual
thing.
person is a big thing to consider.
Yeah. So I guess we can think about that and circle back, but I would like to get the theme going and kind of finalized by our next meeting. Just because this show takes a lot longer than one would think.
Yeah.
And then on that, or am I allowed to ask those special meetings? On that note, do we have any additional people that want to be part of the subcommittee? And also maybe think about that.
Going to move that to the subcommittee's discussion, or
Sorry,
that's okay. This is
Sure.
new business. Okay.
thank you.
Mhm.
All right, so moving forward, we can go to staff updates.
Will the new members meet at the next meeting
Yes,
when we establish the subcommittees? So that they
yes,
can be on it?
sure. I know there's one very eager gentleman.
Yeah.
Who's joining, and I met him, and he had no idea who I was, and then I gave him my card, and then he emailed me to let me know that he was part of this great committee that I should know about.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Aw.
So new member onboarding updates. So thank you for opening that up. So they will be here next week. They're going through their, or excuse me, next month. They're going through their training. We have, I think, just two.
We have three new
Three?
members, so I can give an update on that.
Please do.
So Chair, just, I forgot to add one other thing. I'd like to take a moment to introduce our new staff liaison and community events coordinator, Ashley Young. If you want to say a few words, she will be replacing myself in this role and in permitting special events, et cetera, all of the above things. So I just wanted to make sure that she's acknowledged. She will be stepping in freshly at the July meeting.
Mhm.
So if there's anything that you need to handle during this, we can talk about that as well. But I want to say a few words about yourself.
Welcome.
Thank you, everybody. Yeah, my name's Ashley. It's nice to meet everybody. I'm a Tacoma native. I live here as well. And I'm excited to be a part of the City of Tacoma team and the Tacoma Venues and Events team. I have experience in permitting. I worked for the City of Des Moines for 4 years, where I did event permitting. I oversaw our Arts Commission, or the Arts Commission there. So I have experience in overseeing committees and programming. I've been doing events for about 15 plus years. And so I have a lot of experience in planning and those areas as well. So everybody's been really great in welcoming me with open arms, and I'm excited to get to know you all. And I look forward to maybe doing some one-on-ones with everybody as I get settled in, so that we can all get to know each other individually. And so I can learn more about this great committee. Thank you.
Yay. Well, welcome. We're glad to have you.
Thank you for indulging me. So Chair and members, the update on the new members is that Ashley and I will be introducing ourselves to them, probably tomorrow. Keep moving. And they will be invited to an onboarding session since there's 3 of them, and that's much less than a quorum. Now that there is 9 members, 10 members, anyway, there are 9 members. There will be one single, hopefully, so we'll do a doodle calendar, and hopefully that'll happen before June 30th. For obvious reasons that you all know about. And yeah, and so I'll invite at least one other member of this committee to attend. But I also included in your packet a members roster. Looks like there's only 2 vacant positions right now. And the new people are Karen Sutterth, Tim Fairley, and Jill Sparks. And I would encourage you to, by email or calling, just reach out to them and let them know who you are at any time, even before Ashley and I are able to set up that orientation session. But you've all been through the orientation session and know what that's like. So any questions that you have about that at this point in time with limited, next steps, just let us know.
And I was reappointed as well.
Oh,
you're
yes.
welcome.
Congratulations. Thank goodness.
Sorry about that.
I accepted. I did skip the parade because I didn't want to, make a deal about it. Very good. Thank you so much, Kala, for that. And welcome everybody that's new. Gerald or Tammy, who wants to start with social media?
Maybe Gerald.
Oh, hey Tammy, I didn't. Hi Tammy. Okay, cool. Hi everyone. It's been a while, guys. So here's my just quick updates for social media. Of course, if you've been part of CERC, you'll hear me say this all the time. If you can you can share also to your networks, especially on LinkedIn and on Instagram. If you haven't noticed, I've been posting some quick bios about our City of Destiny awardees. So if you can, I know Jessica, you posted it and tagged us, so thank you for that. So if you can, I just posted the one about the lifetime I believe it's the lifetime award with Dr. Timmy Foster. So also tagged her on LinkedIn as well. So if you can share that as well, and it also has the event information on there, that'll be gratefully appreciated. So got that going on. And of course, I know for those already that had a CERC spotlight bio already about them, you're off the hook. But of course, this is for the this is gonna be for the new members for July. I'm gonna be starting to do that up again for the spotlight. So part of the onboarding package that Kala created will also be the spotlight. So we're gonna get that touch point real quick on getting, of course, their name, who their employer is, and then why they love Tacoma, and also why they joined the committee. So, which will be great. And then of course getting their headshot as well. And then I'll be extending the invite for July if they doesn't have a professional headshot on them. I'll be more than welcome to. I've been trained up to do with my makeshift white background and stuff. So Ashley knows the process and stuff and how fast it took. It only took less than 5 minutes. So I mean, it won't be hurtful as all. So other than that, I know events are gonna start pushing through, especially for the summer, especially with the 4th of July, 4th of July celebration that's coming up over at Tacoma. So if you're out there in the community, or if you're there, with your family, of course, take photos and of course tag Tacoma venues and events, and then I'll be happy to share that as well. Of course, it's a holiday as well, so it might be a little bit late, but a day later. But other than that, at least we're getting the message out that people are enjoying Tacoma, especially. So other than that, those are my quick updates. I know we have Hillary, our marketing manager here, also Jasmine, who's also my counterpart and marketing partner, of course, with Tammy. If you have any questions, just please let us know. If anyone wants to chime in, please do so. Sorry, I'm a little congested right now. So have to get better before a huge concert that's coming on Friday. So
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gerald.
cool. Thank you.
Tammy, do you have anything to?
No,
I don't know.
Well, no, actually.
Yes,
Sorry.
yes.
So Brian Matter in our office.
Yes.
Is working on a tent and some booth items
Mhm.
so that we can have some presents at some of them.
Oh,
So I'm
yay.
excited with
Perfect.
them. And I just can work Bash a bit on that too, but I know certain members wanted to be part of that.
Yes.
We'll have him.
We do.
Help coordinate the logistics of.
So the other one that we were invited to do that we funded with special events was the Tacoma, what do they call it, the Tacoma Food Walk.
It's a Lincoln Food Walk
Thank you.
series.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So that's what is that, June, July, August, and they will give us a spot as well.
So what we're gonna do is Brian and I are gonna create a kit for CERC members. It's gonna be a wagon where you can put everything inside of it and it'll have tent, tables, banner, materials,
Perfect.
sandbags, everything that
Chairs
you need.
even?
Yep, chairs. So that
Big
way,
wagon.
yeah, we'll get one of those folding
very small chairs
accordion
as well.
wagons.
Chairs
And
for
so that way it'll be easy for you guys to grab from the TDE office and then pack it in your car and then you can bring it back after the event. So we've also created a list. Cal has worked on a list of funded events. And I am going to turn it into a spreadsheet so that you guys can sign up. And we'll do it by time blocks because if an event's like 8 hours, I don't think that people
Yeah.
want to be there that long. So we'll do it by like block 1, block 2, and we'll put those out there. And that way we can see who's signing up for what and when. And then it can be a working list as other events come up
Mhm.
so that we can, if something pops up on our radar, we can add it real quick and then people can sign up to be a part of it. So yeah, that's in the works. Brian's working on the promoted materials right now. Cal has worked on the specific funded events. And we will, when we get a good list going, we'll send that out to the CERC members so that you guys can start signing up.
Mhm. Great.
I believe the first one that's relevant and funded is the South End Neighborhood Council mural and garden event that's
Mm.
on South D and 72nd.
Yeah.
And one of the things that's missing on this is just an email, a relevant email address for the person to contact if we haven't already, filled out a form or
Mhm.
something. Some of them don't have forms to fill out. It's just merely a presence.
Mhm.
So maybe tables aren't always going to be, a table in a tent isn't always going to be appropriate. I don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I just don't know what I don't know. And
Yeah.
Ashley's going to, inherit that. So
Mhm.
finding out more information may be something that she can help with, or it might be something that you can do yourselves, just depending, but let each other know
Mhm.
if you are doing that.
Yeah.
If you're
So
reaching
Ashley,
out.
I know that for sure Lincoln will have a space for us. We do need to contact them though to confirm.
Okay.
I don't think they have a form.
Okay, so my plan was to, because we have everybody's contact information
Mhm.
from the funding, to send out an email to make sure that they are expecting us to be there.
Mhm.
Some of them do have costs associated, and so to figure that situation out, whatever it may look like. And then we can hopefully find out more details. Will there be a booth or will there just be an area for our members to be in? And so that will be probably either the end of this week or the beginning of next week that we reach out to them. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt, but maybe I'd like to share some learnings from when I was at the T-Town event,
Oh, great.
and then maybe some suggestions for us too, as we move forward, if we do these special appearances. So I think I was doing things wrong, so that's why there's a lot of learnings from me. So what I was doing was I was doing two things. I was selling community involvement,
Mhm.
so like trying to recruit people.
Mhm.
And then I was selling like apply to be on this as a member of CERC. So kind of two things there. And that didn't really work well. I had a lot of fun, but I don't think I got anywhere with it. So there wasn't much action. So one thing I was thinking that we could do is on the action front, like gather contact info. Like, I don't even know if we can do this, but gather contact info, like a mailing list
Mhm.
that they can be a part of some either a listserv that CERC sends out or Tacoma Venues and Events sends out, something like that. And then maybe talk more about the special events funding that Jacob's been working on. So I think those two things might help us in the long run. Just food for thought.
Thank you for that feedback, and I agree, and I saw you at T-Town, thank you for being there. I think this has come up. The action plan here came up yesterday in our office, and so we have not met as a team with Brian, who's doing some of this community outreach, and will be expected to create some activation in these spaces. And also working with Hillary and with our marketing team to say, what can we do to draw people in? So do we want to give away tickets to an event? Do we want to give away tickets to, you know, some kind of way to get people interested to come over, and then, oh, by the way, do you want to sign up for this newsletter? So thank you for saying that. We have not met as a team yet to determine what that looks like. So that will be important, that there's a reason for people to come up and engage.
Something where.
And I feel like also having the signage will help a lot, because I had a really hard time like sitting at that table. I walked around and talked to people.
Yeah.
Just
Which is
because-
great.
Because no one was really coming up because they didn't know why I was sitting there.
Unlabeled table.
And we have stuff like spinning wheels.
Yes.
Or, you know,
Or
whatever.
the dropping.
Stuff we,
Yeah,
well, that's what it was, not a spinning wheel, right?
yeah, it was,
Yeah.
yeah, it was great.
I
People
know.
love that. Oh my gosh.
People love raffles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give us your contact information, you get an entry in a raffle.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
that's, we did that too. Yeah, for the dome. I have just a question, not a suggestion, but would you want to create a subcommittee, Keone, about this particular, just an ad hoc subcommittee? So it has a beginning and an end, right? You don't have to carry on forever and have reports and all that stuff, but just to sort of strategize with the marketing staff. It's just a question. So that you have attendance at events goals, which sounds like that's what you were saying, right? Okay. So something to consider. I'll put it on the items for upcoming agendas.
Yeah, no, it's perfect. Thank you. Great suggestions. Excellent. Moving on to City Line.
All right, Jacob,
Tomorrow.
Cecily,
It is tomorrow.
are you prepared?
I was just gonna bring that up. I'm so happy that you guys said it. I know we'll be there early in the morning, so excited for that. But I did not see, usually they send out questions or we send them questions. Is that correct?
Did he not send them to you?
They may have been sent, but I don't see them. So I was gonna ask who may have created the question
Well, let's
list,
give
if I could see
Fred
it.
some. I'm gonna make him feel bad. No, I'm not.
I mean, I can go off the top, but
We don't
you
have
know.
time. So I will go ahead while you're talking amongst yourselves. I will make sure that you have those in hand before I leave here. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for letting me know. I didn't realize.
Cecily, you've been on City Line. I mean, it's really easy, and Jacob, I mean, I'm sure you
I've-
Neither been on there for
I've
that
done it as
reason.
well, yeah.
So,
Yeah, I just wanted to
Mhm.
make sure that there weren't specific questions we should have answers to,
Yes.
just to make sure that we're on.
There,
Yeah.
that's all, that's
we're just
all
on the
in
same
there.
page.
And normally, Fred, I don't even have to do anything and Fred always sends it out, but maybe he's a little distracted because I said, this is my last time. I was letting him know that Ashley will be there to help tomorrow and she's
Yes.
actually going to send it to you. Because she has her laptop here, which I don't have, so. Yay. Thanks, Ashley.
Complimentary to that question, is there a list of talking points or information, something like that, of one sheet that I could review tonight? Keep fresh?
can we send or invite them to see Jennifer's script? That's always really helpful to me because it goes over the music, who's performing, the awardees.
That's the sort of stuff, yeah,
Yeah.
like we're gonna have great performances, we'll
Yeah.
have X, X, and Y there, it's
Correct.
gonna be a great show. Like, I don't have to know anything about those artists to plug them.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah.
Can we,
So would it help if I sent what Calla sent to Fred and then the program?
Mhm.
That has everything on it.
Program would be
program,
helpful.
yeah, that'll have enough.
It just has their names.
I
It
mean,
doesn't
the
have anything
script, I
about
guess
them.
the script, well, Jennifer's not done with the script yet.
Yeah, we won't be able to get that to them by.
Well, I guess just what are the highlights that you'd like us to share out? Because then we can always just kind of
Yeah.
use the information you're going
I
to
feel like
send us
Dr.
to
Timmy
read a
is
little.
important.
And they just did that post on her, so all you have to do is look up the post.
Yeah, I feel like Dr. Timmy's a big one to
Well, I
discuss.
also know, yeah, I know Dr. Timmy pretty good, so I mean, is there anything about the event, not necessarily the award?
Yeah, it's in this document. Yeah, I'm not gonna keep saying I'm sorry, but because Fred usually sends it out and you would have had it like on Friday
So
normally.
I think
Yeah.
talking about the location where it's at, making sure you talk about the time, that it's a free event, there will be food, it's, you know, great community gathering. The Tacoma City Ballet will be there. Sam Parker is our band. Yeah,
Awesome, well, thank you.
and this is the first time we've had the ballet perform, correct, at the City of Destiny Awards? Well, that's what Miss Erin said.
Oh, that's
So I would
good.
talk
That's
about
good.
that, I think that's kind of interesting, so. What else? We have 5 council members.
So you should be receiving that momentarily from Ashley. Thank you. And she will be there tomorrow, although she knows as much as you might know about the City of Destiny Awards. But that said, here's the other great thing is that Amanda Westbrook knows more about this than, any of us can even imagine or forget. Like, she knows everything about the City of Destiny Awards, Rod Kuhn, everything, and she will guide you, but you want to be able to speak eloquently, and I know because you're a script guy.
It's nice to have a reference.
Yeah, no, and there's some meat in there. There's a little room for extra questions because I think I only included 8 questions and answers, and they really are based on last year's questions and answers. The answers are different this year, but the questions are pretty much standard operating procedure. So when you see that, it's pretty easy to read through. It's short and sweet. And I made suggestions on the awardees. I think I put 2 of them in there that I thought were relevant and why they're relevant. So
Yeah.
I thought it was really sweet that Lauren Scheit Padron actually considers one of the Lifetime Achievement or Lifetime Service Award winner, Ramona Bennett, as her life mentor and coach. So that's pretty cool. So I did include that in there. And she is a 3rd generation volunteer on the east side of Tacoma and
Oh,
Lincoln High School as well. So
And then sometimes when I've been on, I like to talk about, especially when we have new members, that we have new members, just because it's also a nice plug but we also have 2 available seats, so.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And then maybe plugging also like TVE's Instagram. Because people can get a lot of updates for the show.
Question for you guys. Do you use LinkedIn fairly regularly?
I don't.
Well, I found that maybe because I'm not on there a lot, but I was going on there just to look at what Gerald posted, and it was really easy to read through everything, because everything just sort of plop, 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 plop. Whereas with Facebook, I have to scroll through all of the advertisements and the puppy
Chaos.
groups that I follow, the cute puppy groups that I follow, so, and the Moss Appreciation Society, et cetera. So I think that LinkedIn sort of doesn't have all that extraneous stuff. It's easy to find things, so just my own observation.
Very good.
Thank you all.
Thank you, and I'm glad you mentioned something, so yeah, we took care of that. Thank you.
I hope you both break a leg and I look forward to watching it.
Awesome.
All right, so City of Destiny Award updates and program details.
Speaking of,
That's Jessica, I mean, Jennifer already hopped off.
Yeah. So City of Destiny Awards is next week. Sorry, that scared me. I don't know that I always get freaked out. Anyway, should we?
it seemed like a spike of yelling that's preceded.
Just carry on.
Does it seem like a spike that has receded? Or at least moved down the hallway?
You have a taser? No. Okay, so City of Destiny Awards is next Wednesday. Right, it's Wednesday, June 1st.
Yes.
Can't believe it's already here. So for those that can come, and I'm also just wondering who can come, Jennifer would like us to arrive at 4 o'clock.
Okay. What do we order?
Business cocktail or a fancy ball gown.
No, I do own fancy ball gowns, don't think I don't.
I believe me. Is everyone available to attend?
I'll be able to attend. Jessica, did you say it was you said it was cocktail attire? I didn't hear you.
That was business cocktail, and that was just kind of my fancy wording. I
Gotcha.
don't think that there's,
Business. Right.
I usually dress up a lot, but that's what I
Well,
do. But no, not, I mean,
This-
maybe please don't wear sweats or jeans.
Yeah, because you do that.
I mean, we're representing.
All right, fine. I won't wear leggings and a hoodie, Jessica. I hear you loud and clear.
She won't wear leggings and a hoodie.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Keone, you're still gonna be out of town? Okay,
Oh, you're muted.
you know.
Oh, well, I thought he was talking.
He went like this.
His lips moving. Okay. Jacob, are you able to attend?
Yes, I can do that.
Excellent. Are we inviting our youth?
Ashley, we should invite them to attend, because I know I've done that in the past with brand new members. They just don't start until the next meeting, really.
And primarily our only job as CERC members will obviously be talking about how amazing all of the awardees are, how amazing our group is. But really just greeting people, making them feel comfortable. It's not, I would say it's less than MLK,
Do we have name tags or something?
like something to identify us.
I hoarded my name tag from MLK.
What, you didn't keep your name tag from MLK?
You know what? I've been through 6 jobs since then, no.
Oh, and you probably were wearing one for your current job at the time. No, you haven't. So another thing, Ashley, we do have, I have a template, but we might be able to create better looking ones than I did.
No,
But just,
no, that's a good point.
we'll work on that
Okay.
and bring them with us. We have a
Okay.
little rolling bin that we put everything in. We're doing these things. Of course, it's at the Tacoma Dome, so we'll just run upstairs and fix that problem.
So, yeah, so the band and the ballet are gonna be rehearsing from 3:30 till about 4, and then Jennifer goes over all of the awardees and the presenters. Kind of walks them up and down stage, so it's pretty easy. I feel like City of Destiny is really straightforward. And then doors open around 5:30, and show starts at 6.
Yeah, it'll be 5. We have announced 5 as the doors open, reception in the lobby with some snacks
Right,
and punch or something.
and this year you are allowed to bring food into the auditorium, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've usually,
Huge.
yeah, last year was an anomaly. Usually we do make sure that that's possible.
Mhm. But it's a lot of fun. I don't think, because you guys were not on the board, or,
No, because it was late last
Yeah.
year when we went through the
Mhm.
onboarding.
yeah,
process.
it's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed City of Destiny last year. It's fun to get to meet the community, people's family and friends come out. I feel like it's a little bit smaller than MLK as far as many people that are there, but it's kind of nice because you can have more discussions.
Yeah.
Some of the city council will be there. It's nice to talk to them,
Okay.
thank them for all their hard work. That's okay. Yeah, so does anyone have any questions? Comments, concerns, feedback?
Where should we park?
Anywhere,
Anywhere? It doesn't
free,
matter.
except for unless you have a sticker, but
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
but it doesn't matter. I haven't been there. I don't know.
yeah, A lot is the best place to park and it's straight across from the exhibition hall entryway and parking is free. So,
Yay!
yeah,
Mhm,
it's our gift to the community, right?
that's right.
That's right.
Perfect. Anyone else?
Okay.
Cool. All right, so moving on to special event funding program guidelines and scoring matrix. Jacob,
Yeah, so.
and thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
honestly.
Oh, I'm just happy to help. Yeah, so I got a chance to go through some of the feedback that I got back today from Tammy especially. Brian sent some stuff on a little bit later that I haven't quite had time to integrate into my draft, but I think there were some points that you brought up that I adjusted, some specific language that we needed updated, and I sent that back along. I also included the little scoring matrix that I've been talking about. So just as a little teaser for this, now that it does exist, the way that this is structured includes all 4 of the extant categories that we had talked about, but does not include as yet, and nor does the funding document itself, include a portion on location and geography, which is something that we did talk about including, but I haven't built in. The good news is this spreadsheet as it exists is very easily expandable. I can drop in an extra, I mean, we could do 70 categories and it wouldn't matter. It would just be ungainly.
Let's not.
Let's
right?
not. But 5 is fine. 5 I can build right in. And I did figure out a way to use weighted averages on this so we can adjust the scoring weight for any given one of these more or less at will. That's something that I would recommend like locking down once I've sent it on. But all of those formulas are in here and they work. I've been playing around with it, testing them out. So it takes some of the onus off of the scores to do anything other than assign and grade for the category. And then the sheet itself, once we distribute it, will do the math for them and produce a final score out of 30 for their final on any given application. And then they can discuss as a group and produce like, you know, an aggregate score for final submission to the city council. So that's kind of where that's at. It looked like most of the edits were cosmetic, a little bit of like phrasing adjusting and things like that. Brian said he had pointed out something a little bit larger that I haven't investigated yet, so we'll see what that looks like. But I will have the added section, a draft for the added section on location, which I imagine will be fairly brief and uncontroversial. Mostly stating that we are going to wait in order to ensure the inclusion of as much of the city as we can. And that will be something that the committee considers. So language more or less to that effect, the additional section here. One point of concern though, I haven't messed with the application itself at all. So there are some notes in here, some worthy notes in here that say these, if this is the way that we're going to be structuring these things, that sense of structure, that sense of priority needs to be reflected in the questions themselves. And so I think that's y'all's domain.
Yeah,
Mostly
so
at
I
the
think,
city?
We will be looking for probably an alternate way to have applications submitted.
Mhm.
Because last year we did Survey Monkey and pardon me, we weren't happy with that. So we're looking at alternate ways to do that. So I think once these guidelines are written, then we'll use the same language to put them into the application.
Oh, and build it back up.
Yeah, and then I
Okay,
think
good,
if
good.
you don't mind staying on this ad hoc committee, we'd probably have you proof it before
Happy
we
to.
sent anything out, just to make sure that we caught everything, but I think streamlining and using the same language is
Completely agree.
key there, so that nothing gets missed.
I feel like we discussed that a lot too when we were going through it, because we
Mhm.
were scoring people, but then realizing that people didn't realize that's how we would be doing it, right? Because the language wasn't the same.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think we can clean it up a lot. One big thing here that I think was probably still needing discussion is we had talked about having two different categories because there's some very established large events that were getting a $10,000 award. And should they be really competing against an event that's requesting as low as, well, $325, but I also put in here a suggestion that we make $1,000 minimum, just because of the amount of paperwork required to actually get the award from the city, and you have to provide insurance and all this. Like, to give someone less than $1,000, you're like just wasting your time.
Yeah.
So my thought was, do we want to have like a 1 to 5,000 or 1 to 4,999, and then 5,000 to 10,000 categories during the voting process? So just for discussion consideration.
I think a floor is reasonable if we're talking about man hours and like time spent processing. My thought on splitting it into buckets is that I feel as if the amount that the event wants shouldn't necessarily be relevant to the scoring of that event. So that is to say that if I have a really, really high quality application for $1,300, and $1,300 is what I need, like that is the money that I need for the capacity that I have to put on the size of event that I can do, then that application on its merits should stand against something like Mosaic, independent of that sort of classification. You know what I mean? Like they only want $1,300, but they have demonstrated that they can use that $1,300 to exactly the extent that they want to, exactly within their capabilities. Therefore, it's a very high scoring application, and they'll get 90% of what they ask for. You know, I don't know that separating it out into buckets helps determine the value of the application itself, or the merit of the application itself.
Anyone else have any thoughts? I think that's totally fair, and if it will just be on the committee to negotiate, discuss where the money goes, which is what's happened in the past, and that's worked out fine. So that was just one of the suggestions that came during those deliberations. But I think it makes sense to continue on as is, but the $1,000, I think.
I do like.
I think a floor is a good idea.
Yeah.
And I do think that might be something that goes into the guidelines for the panelists, is like, hey, consider that we don't want to do $10,000 grants. Like,
Because we don't have the money.
yeah, that's, or
Well, we might.
We do.
Well,
10,000.
wouldn't that be about it?
Right.
That's about where we stand.
Currently, we have enough for 7.5,
Yeah.
10,000. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's something, along with the geography and whatnot, that's something worth mentioning in the guidelines. It's like, distribute across geography, distribute across scale. Like, if it's a good application, they should get what they're asking for.
Great.
I have one comment I wanted to make. I just really appreciate your ability and your facility to look at this and fairly recommend ways in which this will be a good stewardship of taxpayer dollars. Because you're taking it very seriously, and I appreciate that, but you also have applied some of your experience from other funding selection panels, and I really appreciate that. It's not something that I'm used to doing, so having someone that's sort of an expert, subject matter expert, as you've described yourself, I mean, really, because only through your actions, not through your words, but I just really appreciate that, and I hope that everybody else kind of can learn from this process and become the same level of expert. And then one last question I have at the end of discussion, if there's no, when the discussion is done. So. Oh. Can you guys still hear
How
us?
much of that fell?
You can?
Okay.
Oh, thank goodness, because we just got a message on the screen that said something about our microphone. Anybody else have any comments? Cecily or Keani?
Yeah, thank you, Jacob, though, for doing all of that.
Oh, I'm legitimately having a good time. It's a lot of fun for me.
It's clear that you were happy to do it, but we also really appreciate it. Those can both be true.
That's
Cecily unmuted.
Oh, I didn't have any comments. I just wanted to send a thank you.
Oh, okay.
Excellent.
I put on the agenda action or requires action. What action do you want to take at this meeting? And then what action should Ashley make sure you follow at the next meeting? Because we do have deadlines associated with this process.
Can you remind us when we have to have this done by?
Ms. Tammy?
So we had initially planned to open up the applications on August 1st. So there was just a bit of back and forth about the funding. We have currently approved $75,000 for 2024. That is less than we want to be able to award. So we have to go to council for a mid-biennium modification on the budget and ask for additional funding. So we got that approved last year. We think we'll get it approved again, but we won't officially know until council would approve it in November, which is really late. But we will have a very good idea in October what we'll have. So backtracking, I think what we'd like to do is release applications at the beginning of September. Let people do the applications, so all of September, half of October, then hand it over to the committee to evaluate. We, at that point, should have a very good idea of what the total amount of funding we have is. In any case, we would make sure we had it by mid-November, when the committee would actually vote, so we'd be able to evaluate and determine the funding in October, beginning of November, but in November, we will, on the backside, be getting the contracts and the backside people that we have to do, getting that ready so that we can launch it quickly so that the funding can start right away. So there are some events that happen.
yeah, fairly swiftly.
They want to know and all of that, so.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Just because with my experience, I know this isn't a grant, this is funding, so it might be different. Usually it's released the whole dollar amount that is being worked with on the front end. Like City of Tacoma has $125,000 to be spent for competitive funding. Is that going to be a requirement?
Yeah, we haven't done that in the past. In the past, we.
Oh, it's starting to get static. You can't hear? Oh, no. Keani, can you hear us?
It's just scratchy, but I can still
Same
hear.
thing on my end too.
All right,
Yeah, it gave us a weird.
I'll just check. Go ahead and continue. I will see what I can find out on this end.
So we don't have to have the full dollar amount.
We don't, ideally, it would be good to put it out, but last time I looked at what we put, the information we put out, and we just said we're awarding grants up to 10,000 per event would be requested,
Okay,
but there wasn't, we have a pot of X number of dollars, we didn't put that out.
yeah, and yeah, because I think for grants, you have to put that amount out, but since it's not technically a grant, it's a loophole we can work through. Because that would be my only concern,
yeah.
releasing in September.
So I'm going to try something with the microphone and I want to do a test. Thank you. Can you hear us? I need to hear.
No, I don't know that you can hear me.
Yes.
Testing.
Oh, she can hear.
Okay, thank you. I'm just going to turn it up a little bit and make sure. Okay, Kayani, can you hear us?
Hey, it's better.
All right. And Jasmine, thank you for bringing that to our attention. Yes, it's better. Woo. Somehow it jumped to another microphone system. I don't know how.
Okay.
It was just a little ghost in the machine. Thank you. So I am making a note and Ashley can confirm this or change it as the date comes closer. At the July meeting, you're going to bring with the rest of your subcommittee a recommendation to the full committee for a vote.
Yes.
And in order to do that, we should have by X date a distribution to the full committee of the documentation.
Yep, that seems
Okay.
reasonable to me.
And so the July meeting is the 19th. Thank you. I believe you. I just wanted to make sure my eyes
You
worked.
don't, it's fine.
No, I believe you.
We are on fire today.
And so that means that the committee should be receiving something by the first week of July. Let's just
Did you say the week of the
Suggest
3rd or
that?
the week of the 10th?
week of the
10th.
third.
Week of the 3rd.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will make sure that that has the new section in it related to geography. Do we also, does the committee need to produce guidelines for panelists for considering the applications?
I would make that recommendation and for scoring,
Yes, that's
like how to use your beautiful spreadsheet that you made.
how does it work and what do you do with it exactly? Yeah.
I feel like just
That's a
bullet,
good idea.
just bullet points.
Yeah, I think a one pager is
Yeah.
perfect.
Okay. And then there exists already how a 30-point scale works for grant funding. So we'll just transfer that content right over. And then how for the 3rd, I can have something roughly together, be a little prosaic for panelist guidelines that will reflect the 5 categories as you're scoring these. Here's how to think about these 5 categories. But that I think will be something that everyone wants to have an eye on and everyone wants to have buy on in. So I don't know if we want, with this little bit of extra breathing room, maybe we can approve the funding guidelines themselves and I can have a wholly unapproved and work in progress draft of guidelines so that everyone can have a chance for input on that.
Selection
What if we
guidelines,
try to
right,
do
the
it
panelist guidelines.
Panelist
We'll
guidelines,
do
correct.
full CERC approval in the August meeting? So we can review at the July meeting and then
And
discuss and then a CERC approval at the August meeting.
That's perfect.
I think the guidelines in July being done gives us time to get it ready
For
March,
distribution.
September 1st,
Mhm.
because we'll need to take the guidelines and use that language to create the application.
Mhm.
I think I'd rather if we do
Okay.
the guidelines in July,
Mhm.
and then even if you're still working on the other stuff, I don't even know that you need to vote on. I think it would be the committee would determine amongst itself,
Mm.
here's how we're scoring these.
Yeah, so the subcommittee that does the selection, the panel can be made up of a combination of, and we don't want to do staff any longer, but it can be made up of some ad hoc subcommittee members that are not part of this committee. It can be made up of a non-quorum representation from this committee, or knowing that going forward, you're gonna have 9 members, and so a quorum is gonna be a larger number than it is right now. And so those decisions can be made outside of the public view. They are not public meetings. They are meetings that are subject to public disclosure request for the results for some of that information, but it is still done outside of the public view. So that's why you don't have to vote on the content of those panelist directions,
Oh, interesting.
unless you want to. Right, because then you have the full committee's input on it, which you can, which is a blessing or a curse, depending on how you want to share that information and then carry it out. Because design by committee is sometimes difficult if they don't, because you'll have new members and they might not be familiar with the process and they might not end up on the selection panel. They might. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
starting from scratch by committee is especially difficult.
Yeah.
So some sort of at least skeletal framework.
With a strong recommendation.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. But to your point, I think we can definitely have the guidelines themselves locked in by the July meeting. Yeah, I agree. I think we're more or less there pending whatever. I just have this like buzz in the back of my mind, what did Brian find?
Well, a deadline is a deadline is a deadline. And so anything that happens after that deadline might not be relevant. Unless it's a glaring mistake, which I don't think you're gonna find in this process, because you've already done so much, you've been so diligent about it.
Is this the one with Brian?
Yeah.
I don't see anything that's.
Oh, was it just the neighborhood thing?
glaring.
He said he found something that contradicted a previous passage. That's what stuck out of my head.
Oh, I just thought it was neighborhood
There's
comment.
certainly, there is some areas where the language can be cleaned up. Where there's things that are redundant, but not exactly the same. I think he was calling out some of it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's easy to adjust. And I have no ego about that sort of stuff either, y'all. If I get too flowery or too sparse, just smack my hand.
I think we gave you too many words to start with.
That would be that's my claim to fame.
Here, have
That's
you
my
seen
claim
this
to
one?
fame. Once I'm gone, you can
Why don't
make
you take a
everything
look at it
short.
real quick? Put your mind at
Short
ease
and
a little
sweet.
bit.
Okay, so I checked that off.
Question really quick, and I'm sorry that I don't recall the term, but for the folks that we could be adding to be part of the subcommittee that aren't part of CERC, if they are like applying for the special funding, shall we,
No,
No.
they should not. That's just too complicated.
well, just something to think
Yeah.
about, because I feel like a lot of those kinds of folks would be interested to
Right.
participate, just because they are around the community, but they would have to not really, they'd have to exclude themselves quite a bit.
Mhm.
You're talking about inviting community members to be part of the panel. As long as they're
Fine.
We can get in the weeds about that if you want, but can it be like, because several organizations apply too, and they cannot also either work or represent an organization that's applying for funding? It's something to think about, because.
Like what my organization.
Right.
Well,
There's
we have.
conflict of interest forms.
Well, yeah, there's a conflict of interest form and Cecily had to recuse herself from decisions last year
Yeah.
about that particular funding, but not about the other funding. So,
How does that work though, like with me, because I am on the board of like Downtown Tacoma Partnership and they apply. I mean, I didn't vote on them, but.
mhm.
Yeah, so I think
Yeah,
you just
that's
recuse yourself from those
Yeah.
ones.
Okay.
And you guys can write those rules accordingly
Mhm,
and adhere to them, and you
Mhm.
should,
mhm.
because now you've got these really good guidelines for the
We've got rules.
panelists.
All right. Does anyone else have any thoughts, questions, comments? No? Thanks again, Jacob. Right.
And Tammy.
And
Hillary.
Tammy.
And Hillary.
And Hillary,
Who else looked at it?
Jessica.
Ashley had some
Ashley.
ideas too. So many people have. Okay.
Excellent. Do we have any public comments?
We have no public attendees, so I would say no.
Sounds good. Do we have any, does anyone have any ideas for upcoming agendas other than what we
What
discussed?
happened to Welcome Week?
They are.
I
they were-
still need to
they were
have a follow-up.
invited,
I tried to get on Rachel on his calendar, but
didn't happen.
Because that's in September, right? And that's.
Yeah.
Soon.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
um,
not our
But
problem.
I feel like this is the second time they've done this to us.
Okay,
Well, where they want us to get involved, but then they're not giving us enough time and not.
well, we really need firm direction from them, so, and it can't be just me setting up a meeting with them. They really need to be, even if it's staff, they need to be engaged in the conversation. So let me read off what I wrote down through this meeting. I put outreach subcommittee to strategize attendance and events and what goals those are. MLK subcommittee, parens S, subcommittees, whatever. Attendance at upcoming events, I just said that. And then welcoming week, we can follow up. That's what I have. Is there anything else that you would like recorded?
We're gonna miss you.
We're gonna close the meeting and then we're gonna have a group hug. And then my husband's gonna have to take me out to dinner tonight.
Yay.
All right.
Cry. Yeah, anything else besides that?
I think so.
It's always a chance. You can always send your information to Ashley and she can add it to the agenda.
And everyone has Ashley's contact. Correct?
A young one,
Yeah, there's a big email. I just wanna make sure everyone had it.
a young one,
Nice.
the number one. We don't know why they did that. There's only one A young at the city of Tacoma. Apparently that's a new practice or something. I don't know.
I need to too, but not an email address.
Okay.
If there's another A Young, I'm happy to get rid of them. So I can get that number.
You're still
Fine,
number
Andy.
one. Do you want to?
Have you tried?
Oh, yeah.
without the one?
No, not yet.
I have, and I tried it with a 2 accidentally.
No
All right.
response?
Okay, we can adjourn the meeting.
Yep, our meeting is adjourned.
Hooray.
All right. I'm going to turn off the recording now. Don't leave yet. Yes, I'm sure I want.